DINFOS Hall of Fame. We should view it as more than a ceremony and recognition of their achievements, but also as a living testament to the values we all hold dear: dedication, integrity, service, and the pursuit of excellence. Each of these inductees embody these ideals, forging a path that has not only shaped their own lives, but also inspired countless others in our community and beyond. It truly reflects the enduring spirit of DINFOS. If you look at the past honorees, you will see politicians, including a former Vice President of the United States, corporate leaders, Pulitzer Prize winners, best-selling authors and educators, and a host of others who excelled in diverse fields, be it business, education, arts, communications fields, or public service. They set high standards and demonstrated that success is achieved not only through talent, but through persistence, compassion, and a commitment to lifelong learning. They have proven that the foundation laid within these very walls can be the launching pad to greatness. Sarah Hood, United States Air Force Master Sergeant, retired. Sarah has served with absolute honor and distinction in an outstanding military and civilian public affairs career which spanned nearly 45 years. Yes, please. A dedicated professional, an excellent instructor and administrator, our PA career field was blessed by the troops and civilians who learned under her tutelage. Amy Roberson, retired Senior Master Sergeant, who served on active duty in the U.S. Army and in the Air and Army National Guard. A founding leader in the Army Public Affairs Association, Amy's influence spans over 3 decades across military, federal, and corporate communications. From her early days reporting with Stars and Stripes to her leadership as the Director of Strategic Engagement for the Veterans Benefit Administration, and now as Deputy Assistant Administrator for Strategic Communications and Public Affairs at TSA. Her impact has been tremendous. John Banusiewicz, Senior Master Sergeant, United States Air Force, retired. John began his DINFOS experience by being the honor graduate of his class. And he never looked back, serving in a variety of assignments around the globe, including managing editor of an award-winning newspaper for airmen serving in Operation Desert Shield and Desert Storm. An excellent leader and administrator, John mentored a generation of public affairs professionals who told the story of America's military serving around the world. After completing 45 years of combined military-civilian service, in 2023, John was inducted into the U.S. Air Force Public Affairs Hall of Fame. Dr. Joe Trahan, a New Orleans native. Who that talking about beating them Saints? Has 41 years of public relations, public affairs experience in governmental, educational, and nonprofit public relations. Also a retired lieutenant colonel in the U.S. Army Reserve. Dr. Trahan has superbly provided media relations training to over 3,500 people annually in 46 states and various countries around the globe. Dr. Trahan was inducted into the Rowan University Public Affairs Hall of Fame for lifetime distinguished contributions to the public relations profession in 2019. Last, but certainly not least, Ken Hackman, United States Air Force veteran. The godfather of military visual information. He made the Air Force a deal they could not refuse. This distinguished title comes from Ken's founding of the U.S. Air Force photojournalism program in 1971. Ken's efforts laid the groundwork for the outstanding program it has become today. Ken's distinguished career spanned 7 decades, which includes the Vietnam War and covering 8 Olympic Games. In reviewing these newest inductees, I was struck by one common trait they all share. After their military service, they went into public service, either as civilians or in the National Guard and Reserves. I'm sure they could have all gone into high-paying, prestigious positions in the private sector. But these dedicated individuals became the backbone of our public institutions, working tirelessly each day to uphold the principles of integrity, fairness, and service to our community. Civil service is not merely a profession, it is a calling. It requires steadfast commitment to the public good, an unwavering sense of responsibility, and a deep respect for the trust placed in them by our citizens. Every task performed, whether seen or unseen, shapes the lives of countless people and strengthens the fabric of our society. Their efforts ensured that essential services were delivered efficiently and that the core values of democracy are preserved. Let us remember that their dedication often came with personal sacrifice. They served quietly, without seeking recognition or reward, motivated instead by a genuine desire to improve our career fields and make a positive difference. It is this spirit of selflessness and integrity that truly defines the dignity of their public service. To any of our current students present today, let the service of our DINFOS Hall of Fame inductees be a beacon of what is possible. Let the stories of our honorees remind you that your dreams, too, can become reality when guided by hard work and character. The journey of every Hall of Fame member started right here, perhaps some sitting in the same seats you occupy today. Their legacy shows us that no ambition is too bold, no goal unattainable. On behalf of the school community, I want to extend heartfelt gratitude to the inductees. Thank you for carrying the spirit of this great school into the world, for your many achievements, and for your unwavering support. Thank you for being mentors, role models, and above all, for demonstrating that true success is measured not only by what you accomplish, but by the positive impact you leave on others. Congratulations to our new members of the DINFOS Alumni Hall of Fame. Your legacy will forever be part of our school's story. Thank you for lighting the way. I'm a political science guy. I'm not done yet. As I prepare to conclude my remarks, let me ask each of you to reflect on one firm principle, a principle which has guided the journey of these honored inductees. It is the enduring motto of this great institution. Strength through truth. In a world that often values convenience over honesty, it takes courage to choose truth. These honorees, and many of the thousands who have gone before them, have shown that authentic strength is not found in ignoring challenges or masking vulnerabilities, but in facing them head on, guided by honesty and integrity. All our lives and work remind us that truth can be difficult. But it was in those moments of honesty that these distinguished alumni all grew, persevered, and ultimately became stronger. So, following their example, let us all remember strength through truth means standing firm in our convictions, speaking with clarity, and living with transparency. It's about holding ourselves accountable and inspiring those around us to do the same. As we leave here, let us carry this motto with us. Let us commit to being brave enough to speak honestly, compassionate enough to listen deeply, and resilient enough to stand by our values. Like those we are honoring, let strength through truth be the beacon that guides our choices and unites us in purpose. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing in this celebration and for honoring these distinguished communicators whose legacy was built on truth and strength. May we all find the fortitude to live by these words now and always. May God bless our troops serving around the world and their families. May God bless our beloved Defense Information School, and may God bless you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Colonel Martin, for your inspiring words. You can clap again, that's fine. It is now time to formally recognize this year's honorees and induct them into the DINFOS Alumni Hall of Fame. And we've heard a bit about your accomplishments already, but guess what? I'm going to repeat some of them. Because you deserve it, number one. And number two, they're so memorable, so nice, in fact, we should hear them twice. How about that? Our first honoree is Senior Master Sergeant John D. Banusiewicz, retired United States Air Force. Senior Master Sergeant Banusiewicz enlisted in the Air Force in 1974. He received his DINFOS training in 1978, and he was recognized as the Distinguished Honor Graduate of his class. No easy accomplishment there. In the late 1980s, Senior Master Sergeant Banusiewicz was a Tactical Air Command newspaper consultant and internal information superintendent at Langley Air Force Base. Senior Master Sergeant Banusiewicz also served as managing editor of Desert Defender, again a weekly Air Force newspaper for forward deployed airmen serving in Operations Desert Shield and Desert Storm. Following these assignments, he was a public affairs and journalism instructor here at the Defense Information School. In 1994, Senior Master Sergeant Banusiewicz moved to the Air Force News Agency, and following his retirement from active service in 1996, he returned here to DINFOS as lead instructor and course coordinator for the editor's course. He also served as chief of the journalism division and as the public affairs academic director. In 2008, Senior Master Sergeant Banusiewicz became the managing editor of American Forces Press Service, now known as DoD News, a position he held until his retirement in 2020. Senior Master Sergeant Banusiewicz is the recipient of the Office of the Secretary of Defense Medal for Exceptional Civilian Service and is a 2023 inductee into the Air Force Public Affairs Hall of Fame. Colonel Martin, Colonel McNorton, and First Sergeant Woods will now present the honor. Ladies and gentlemen, will you help me in welcoming DINFOS 2025 Hall of Fame inductee, John D. Banusiewicz.
Here somewhere. Holy cow, folks, I gotta tell you, this is a little overwhelming, so please bear with me. I'm pretty humbled and honored to be here today. DINFOS, as we all know, if you're sitting in this room, is more than just a school. It's a launching pad for careers. It's a community of professionals. It's a place where the stories of our military, our people, and our nation begin their journey to the world. When I enlisted in the Air Force, my dream was to attend DINFOS, but the recruiter pulled a fast one on me. I had no idea that it was coming up on the end of the fiscal year, and all the seats in the schoolhouse had been taken for fiscal year 1975. So, I'll make a few phone calls. Yeah, right. Raise your hand and I'll see what I can do. Long story short, I didn't get to the schoolhouse at Fort Bend until 1978. I was a computer programmer before that, and it was COBOL, system that the language that runs the world to this very day, for the Military Airlift Command Aircrew Resource Management System. And even after I was in public affairs, they used to call me and say, hey, we're having a problem with one of the programs, can you take a look at it? So it was kind of fun, but my chance finally came in '78 to go through DINFOS. But I knew it was my calling then at that time to tell the Air Force story. I'll always be grateful to Tommy Tompkins, who, those of you might remember him, he was my journalism instructor, and the foundation that he and the schoolhouse gave me through every chapter of my military and civilian careers, I'm eternally grateful. The lessons I learned here and at Fort Bend shaped not only how I told the story, but why I told it, which is really more important. Teaching the next generation and watching them go out and succeed has been one of the most rewarding experiences of my life. I was fortunate enough to return to DINFOS as a civilian employee here a couple of years after I left, and it was great to renew acquaintance with many service members I remembered from their first time through the ringer. I had a great many mentors over the years. Dave Terry, who all the instructors had to pass muster with before they were ever going to set foot in a classroom. I lost my place here. Don Carr, who was in the Army newspaper program. Perry Jennifer was the editor down at Keesler Air Force Base in Mississippi and was just so knowledgeable. And I used to pick his brain all the time and would have these long philosophical phone calls that I think helped me know what direction I was going in. Just so many people over the years, I could never begin to name them all. Their wisdom, their patience, and their leadership shaped not only my career, but also my character. To my colleagues, peers, and the countless students I had the honor to work alongside, you've all left your mark on me, and if a tear went down my cheek a few times here today as we were gathering, I think you'll know that to be true. But most of all, to my wife, Kathy, she supported me through a lot of late nights and all the unpredictability and all the travel that came with my work. And your strength, Kath, has always been my anchor. That was all for Kathy, and thanks for the opportunity to compose myself here for me. As I look back, I realize the true legacy of DINFOS is not the stories we told in the moment, but the storytellers we developed. This Hall of Fame induction isn't about what I accomplished. It's about being part of a community that has always strived to tell the truth, to uphold the highest standards, and to honor the service of our nation's defenders. So to everyone here today, thank you for this incredible honor, and thank you for letting me be part of the DINFOS story.
Thank you very much, Senior Master Sergeant Banusiewicz. Our next honoree is United States Air Force veteran, Mr. Ken Hackman. As mentioned before, affectionately known as the godfather of military visual information, and that is not an exaggeration, as you're about to hear. He founded the Air Force photojournalism program in 1971, and he helped to shape it into the program that we know it today. Mr. Hackman's love of photography led him to the United States Air Force at the age of 17. After leaving active duty, he became a civil service photographer with the Aerospace Audiovisual Service until his retirement in 1995. During his distinguished Air Force career, Mr. Hackman mentored young photographers, giving them the training and expertise they needed to be successful in the field. He conducted many photojournalism seminars across the service branches during his career. Mr. Hackman's own impressive portfolio includes photographing the Vietnam War, 5 Summer and 3 Winter Olympic Games, and the final atmospheric atomic bomb test in the Pacific. He photographed multiple military contingency exercises, as well as humanitarian and other events across the globe. Mr. Hackman took the official photographs of Air Force One from 1975 until 2000, and most Air Force aircraft from 1960 to 1995. His final Air Force One photograph, by the way, is one you might remember. It's a memorable shot of the presidential aircraft flying over Mount Rushmore in 1990. Mr. Hackman's work also includes shooting the Air Force Reserve Band with guest musicians from Blues Traveler to Lee Greenwood to Hootie and the Blowfish. Mr. Hackman's achievements have been recognized by the National Press Photographers Association, where he received the 2013 Joseph A. Sprague Award. It is the highest honor in the field of photojournalism. He is also the recipient of the Department of Defense's Exceptional Public Service Award. Colonel Martin, Colonel McNorton, and First Sergeant Woods will now present the honor. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome DINFOS 2025 Hall of Fame inductee, Air Force veteran, Mr. Ken Hackman.
No, sir.
At Lowry Air Force Base, there was no DINFOS. There was nothing. And I started this fantastic journey through the Air Force. And if there was any advice I would have for students who are going through DINFOS, what to do with your life and your career, is have an agenda. Have something that you want to achieve in your career. and don't be dissuaded by no-sayers. You know, nobody gives a damn about no-sayers. Be the individual who stands and fights for what you believe in. And I'll be honest with you, as I'm sure Colonel Martin will verify, I was a troublemaker. When I saw the need for what I thought was good, and I convinced others, and they went along. But if you don't have an agenda, you have nowhere to go. You accept the status quo. Well, the status quo is fine if you don't want to go anywhere. Well, you want to go places, have an agenda. Well, after my training at Lowry Air Force Base in still photography, as I said, I embarked on this amazing career where it took this native of Pennsylvania, which is not terribly known for its worldwide looks, but it took me around the world, and it was great. And that was just all prior to DINFOS. There was no DINFOS. So then all of a sudden in 1995, well, you guys, 50 years ago, DINFOS started. I actually made a trip, again, I'm not quite sure why, to give a talk at DINFOS when we were at Fort Ben Harrison. And I got a little plaque to verify that. So if you question whether it's true or not, I was there. And then in 1995, we started the DoD photojournal, or I guess we call it the photojournalism workshop. And at Lowry Air Force Base. Again, DINFOS was beginning to happen here at Fort Meade, but it hadn't. But it had the second year. So the second year we brought the workshop to Fort Meade, and I was honored to be one of the leaders for 20 years of that workshop. And I will say, I've run into a few of my students who I didn't recognize because, damn it, they've gotten older. I can't say, unlike yours truly. Anyhow, we had a wonderful, those workshops were great. And we were there when we evolved from film to digital, which I loved. I mean, I didn't mind working in the dark room, but I wasn't a fan of it. I wanted to shoot pictures all my life. Now we have those ubiquitous cell phones, which everyone has. Now, why do we need you guys? You know, we got a jillion cell phone takers out there. We don't need DINFOS. We don't need photography. Yes, we do. Because all cell phones do, for the people who do them, is show that you were there. What DINFOS does, it shows why. And that's so important. And no matter how many cell phone images get created, we still need people who can make pictures that tell stories. And that's what you guys do, all of you. And you need to do that. So again, thank you again for this distinct honor. I wasn't sure I was going to make it, but I thought, oh well, one more time. Now I'm not quite sure. Where am I going? Get back over there? Behave yourself.
You're not a troublemaker, you're a disruptor. I like that. You make good trouble. Good trouble. Good trouble. You make good trouble. You make good trouble. Well done.
Mr. Hackman, thank you very much. Our next inductee is retired Air Force Master Sergeant Sarah L. Hood. Master Sergeant Hood joined the United States Air Force in 1975. She served as an associate instructor at Air Traffic Control School before she reported to Laughlin Air Force Base, where she served in the radar approach control facility and in the entomology shop. That's worth a discussion later. Following a recommendation from a civilian colleague, Master Sergeant Hood reported to DINFOS at Fort Benjamin Harrison in 1979, graduating from the Information Specialist course. And following her graduation from DINFOS, she served in assignments in Nellis Air Force Base, Mather Air Force Base, Kunsan Air Force Base in Korea, George Air Force Base, Spangdahlem Air Base in Germany. Master Sergeant Hood also served at Air Force News Service at the Pentagon. In 1997, Master Sergeant Hood returned to DINFOS, where she taught journalism and served, and I'm sensing a theme here, as the Public Affairs Academic Director. Quite a few of you here today. She retired from active service in 1999, but continued to serve at DINFOS as a civilian until her retirement in 2020. Colonel Martin, Colonel McNorton, and First Sergeant Woods will now present the honor. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome DINFOS 2025 Hall of Fame inductee, Senior Master Sergeant Sarah L. Hood.
The little things. Okay, let me get my notes out, my reading glasses, 2 shakes. Okay, now I'm ready. Anyway, I can't really see through these. So, ow, vintage and deadly. Ow. Thank you. Sorry, I got to get the tissues out too. Anyway, yeah, my dear friend Faye Jones said, just tell a story. Yeah, sure. I don't have any really short ones. So there I was in Germany, and it was time for me to leave. And my assignments chief called and said, hey, he says, you ever consider teaching? I said, no. Why? Because you're supposed to be suspicious of the assignments guys, especially if they call you. He had a slot he had to fill at DINFOS. And I wanted to go back to the news service. Well, the person at the news service was supposed to take the slot at DINFOS. And he changed his mind twice. And I felt sorry for my assignments chief. I finally said, okay, fine. What do I do? He said, send me an email with this code in it, and I'll take care of the rest. So while I graduated from DINFOS in Indiana in October 1979, I came back to DINFOS here in October 1997. So I thought that was kind of weird. And I was scared to death, just like I am right now. But just like throughout my Air Force career, I had the most wonderful people working with me and having confidence in me, which I'm seriously lacking in, always have been. Wonderful family behind me. And I got here, and the one time I asked my mom what she thought I should be when I grew up, she said, oh, I think you should be a teacher. I looked at her like she had 2 heads. It's like, are you nuts? And then, as it turned out, once I got squared away and everybody got me trained, all my wonderful coworkers, and I really did love it. And all the students, and helping them with their stories, and not so much the grading, but helping them with their stories, and you know, giving them guidance and feedback, and then seeing some of them come back as instructors, and it was the most gratifying job. And I didn't ever have a cot in my classroom, I swear. People said, what, do you have a cot in there? Do you ever go home? Traffic is stupid around here. So I would come in early and bring my breakfast, and then I'd stay a little later so that some of the rush hour traffic could go away, and then I'd go home. but I just truly loved my job. I loved everybody connected with it. Everybody was so patient with me at the beginning and so helpful and supportive and still are to this day. And I'm not sure what I'm doing up here. I really, oh, here we go. Time for the tissues. Anyway, I am so humbled to be here. I loved DINFOS, and it was the most gratifying, wonderful adventure of, I think, all my adventures. And I can't thank everybody enough, everybody who worked with me in the past, all my students, and everybody who was able to come today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Senior Master Sergeant Hood. Our next honoree is retired Army Senior Master Sergeant Amelia Amy Roberson. Senior Masters, so did somebody clap? I thought somebody clapped. Didn't clap. Senior Master Sergeant Roberson served on active duty in the Army National Guard before her retirement in 2004. She is currently the Deputy Assistant Administrator for the Office of Strategic Communications and Public Affairs for the Transportation Security Administration. In that role, she has also served on detail as the Senior Advisor at the Department of Homeland Security Office of Public Affairs. Before joining the TSA, Senior Master Sergeant Roberson served as Acting Executive Director of Riverside National Cemetery. By the way, trivia, the largest and busiest cemetery within the National Cemetery Association. Her responsibilities also included management at Los Angeles National Cemetery. She led strategic engagement, media relations, and marketing for the Veterans Benefit Administration. In addition, Senior Master Sergeant Roberson has held many other roles in government and in private industry. She holds a bachelor's degree in communication, a master's degree in management, a graduate certificate in change management, and she is pursuing a doctorate in business administration. And she also holds a Lean Six Sigma Green Belt. What do you do in your spare time, ma'am? Senior Master Sergeant Roberson served on the Board of Directors for the Army Public Affairs Association and is currently part of its Senior Advisory Council. Colonel Martin, Colonel McNorton, and First Sergeant Woods will now formally present the honor. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome DINFOS 2025 Hall of Fame inductee, retired Senior Master Sergeant Amelia Amy Roberson.
I have to pull this out of my sleeve. I'm just thrilled to be here, really. Thank you to the Commandant, honored guests, this year's inductees, previous inductees, and special guests. You know, it's such a pleasure to be part of this class. And special thank you to retired Colonel Doug Coffey, who is a former chairman of the Army Public Affairs Association, who nominated me but could not be here today. Also, thanks for those who took time today to share this with me. That would be including my sister Lisa, Stephanie, and Leanne, my dearest friends who always show up for me everywhere, and then my coworkers from TSA, Dave, Juan, and Robin. Appreciate, it means the world that you're here today for me. I am so incredibly humbled and shocked to be standing there. You see, there's so many reasons why I shouldn't be here. First, I'm from a small town in Louisiana, and there was no money for college. So I did what a lot of smart, broke kids do. I joined the Louisiana National Guard. But the Army saw fit not to make me a journalist, but a 92 golf, a food specialist, a cook. My 10 years as a cook was short-lived. Not sure why. Could have been my heavy hand at seasoning or me badgering my commander for a position as a 71 Quebec print journalist at the time. In the summer of 1988, I was introduced to DINFOS, and it changed my life forever. Sounds dramatic, I'm sure, but it's really true. You see, at DINFOS, I also push boundaries. Another reason for me not to be here today, you see, I started an underground newspaper. It was a little not so positive on all of the instructors. I got caught and subsequently recycled, and that was humbling and frightening all the same. So for anybody who's ever been recycled, come talk to me later. We can have a support group. After graduating as a DINFOS trained killer, which took me a brief 6 months because of my recycle, I returned to Louisiana, where I dreamed of telling the little guy's story. And as hard as I tried, I couldn't get a spot in active duty. So another reason I should not be here today. But however, it's amazing what a few phone calls and letters to your governor, your senator, and your US representative can do. It's also amazing the reaction that my recruiter had. But another boundary got pushed. My career has certainly been filled with opportunity, adventure, but nearly caught short when I was a private and told my public affairs colonel I could envision me sitting in his seat in 5 years. Didn't feel like that went over so well at the time. But anyway, whether I was a private, a senior master sergeant, or an SES as I am today, I've always saw the art of possible. I'm proof that nothing is impossible. A former cook turned journalist, now a Hall of Famer. Hard to believe, shocking to even say those words. And I credit DINFOS for its academic challenges, its discipline, and truly the tapestry of global-filled relationships, lifelong relationships. I mentioned my friend Stephanie. I met her in BNOC, and I've known her over 30 years. When I retired, well, once a DINFOS trained killer, always a trained killer, right? So when I retired, I made a pledge. I never wanted to see fellow veterans feel like they were limited in their career. To that end, I joined the Army Public Affairs Association, and I served on the board of directors for over 12 years and on the Senior Advisory Council now. And heck, I had just about every job you could have on the board. I was the communications director, then the president, then the chairman, then the treasurer, then the secretary, then the treasurer again, because I liked it so much. But just kidding. I mean, if I can do it, you can do it. And whether you're just starting out, or a seasoned professional, my advice to you is to be open to opportunity, challenge yourself, challenge the colonels, maybe not in the way that I did. But truly, the only limits that you have are the ones that you set for yourself. And you too could be standing right here where I am, a former cook, now a Hall of Famer. And if you don't try, the answer is always no. So with that, I thank DINFOS for building the foundation that's helped guide my career, and I thank you all for listening to my story today. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Senior Master Sergeant Roberson. Our next honoree is Dr. Joseph V. Trahan III. Dr. Trahan is a retired lieutenant colonel in the United States Army Reserve, and he is the former commander of the 314th Public Affairs Operations Center. Some of Dr. Trahan's assignments included joint logistics over the shore in 1992, the Presidential Task Force for Hurricane Andrew, the National Boy Scout Jamboree in 1993, and the 50th anniversary of Operation Overlord in 1994. Dr. Trahan graduated from Tulane University with a BA degree in American Military History and an MA in Public Relations from Ball State University and a PhD in Mass Communication from the University of Southern Mississippi. Dr. Trahan is an accredited member of the Public Relations Society of America, and he is past chair of the PRSA Educators Academy. Dr. Trahan serves as a certified public information officer instructor at FEMA's Emergency Management Institute in Emmitsburg, Maryland, where he teaches the basic through the master's PIO courses. In addition, he also instructs courses in EMI's Executive Academy program. He is a member of the Southern Public Relations Federation Hall of Fame. Dr. Trahan is also the recipient of the PRSA's Lloyd B. Dennis Award for his distinguished leadership in public affairs. Colonel Martin, Colonel McNorton, and First Sergeant Woods will now formally present the honor. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome DINFOS 2025 Hall of Fame inductee, Dr. Joseph B. Trahan III.
I'm the last one. Can all of you hear me? Yes, sir. I don't think I need a microphone. First, I want to thank... we're streaming. Oh, we're streaming. Oh, that's right. Oh, I'm sorry. Colonel McNorton, I want to thank you and your staff. Colonel Martin, thank you. I especially want to thank my good friend sitting right there, Colonel Retired Rivers Johnson. I met him in 1992. My unit, the 314th, I was the executive officer. We showed up, and who did I meet first? This wonderful person. He throws me a phone book and says, find a hotel, okay? What an excellent person. What an excellent officer. I salute you. Where's my Master Chief? Where's my Master Chief Connors? Where's Master Chief Connors? Did he run out the building? There he is. Stand up, my friend. I want to thank him as well, sir. He's been excellent. And again, he took care of me all this time, and thank you so much. I also want to thank your staff for everything they did for me. I want to thank my fellow distinguished Hall of Fame members, outstanding. I want to thank the entire staff and faculty of DINFOS for all you did. Wow. I'm a 1981 DINFOS Public Affairs Officer graduate, and I got a 71 in journalism, ladies and gentlemen. Here I am. Unbelievable. 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 Wow. We were at Fort Ben Harrison. We were using manual typewriters from East Germany. Who cut that contract? Okay. And I'll never forget my journalism instructor. God rest his soul. Major Grant Tyler, he was so patient with me. You can do it. You can do it. I did. And then there was our photography expert, Ken, lively with Shively. And I can still see him bracketing the target of a photo. I still do it even with my phone. I tell my wife, we got to bracket the target. And I remember him being in that darkroom. Trahan, you got to make sure you center the photo. And then, of course, there was Dan Snyder, who was my public speaking instructor. And he told me, never be nervous. I am. But again, he was awesome. And then, of course, there was Susan Hollingshead. She had these red glasses, and she would sit on a stool with high red heels. And I can remember her talking about public affairs. That experience shaped me. It was the foundation. Because before that, I was an armor officer at Fort Polk, Louisiana. Join the Army and see the western part of your state. Okay? And initially, I was an armor officer. And they said, you can read well, you speak well, even though I am from Louisiana, and you speak well. And I said, okay. Before that, I was a trained killer. Imagine that on a job application. What's your job? Trained killer. Okay. So I came to DINFOS. And from DINFOS, I came back. I got hired in 1997. Sarah Hood was here. Johnny B. was here. And I was the master PA instructor. And like Larry Eisenagel, my good friend, who, by the way, graduated first in our class in 1981, but he told the entire group when he became the commandant, and Dr. Trahan graduated last. I stood up and said, Larry, make sure you understand I graduated 15th out of 35, okay? I came back to do the job I loved, and it was a phenomenal journey. DINFOS is my home forever. And I want to thank some people before I step down. First, the good Lord. He gave me this great talent. I can't fix anything. Just ask my wife, okay? But God gave me this wonderful talent, and I bless that and bless him every day for what he does, and I want to pass it on to all. Secondly, I want to thank my wonderful better half. What did the colonel say? Better half, sir? Much better half. She's over there videotaping right over there. Her name's Cheryl. She's awesome. She's a saint. God bless her. She's just phenomenal. I want to thank my two children. My daughter, Michelle, she would light up a room. She's outstanding. She's back in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And my wonderful son, Joe, who lives in Dallas. And thank God he doesn't work for that other NFL team in Dallas anymore. Or what they call the Cowboys, I think. I also want to thank my parents. My mom and dad left us last year. My dad was a Marine. He was with the 1st Marine Division, landed at Incheon, fought at Chosin. He was a Marine to the day he died. He taught me duty, honor, country. My mother, who was a redheaded Italian woman, I led a very confusing childhood in New Orleans. My mother was Italian, my dad was Cajun, but we ate really well. That was really important. I was a fat little boy. The Army told me that too a lot. But my mother taught me the importance of excellence. She taught me the importance of always being the best. But she also taught me respect and dignity for all people. I also want to thank my guest today. I've got Nicole Schutz, if she would stand up. She is my boss. She is the program manager for our, yes, stand up, Nicole, for National Defense Emergency Management University classes. She's my boss, and I wanted to tell Nicole, I work for her all the time. By the way, Nicole, I'd like to keep working as long as I have breath in my body, okay? Keep selecting me. I want to thank my good friends, Mark Brady and his wife, Terry. Mark is a fellow instructor. Again, we both have gray hair, and he's awesome. He is a legend, and thank you, Mark, for teaching with me. I want to thank my good friend Larry Hill, who's sitting there, is also a legend that I instruct with as well. I want to thank Tim for showing it. Where's Tim? Tim's right there. Tim came with Nicole on that one. And finally, before I get off, I want to thank 2 of my students. I didn't know were coming here. Matt Coppin, and again, my good friend, stand up. Both of y'all stand up. Both of my students in the executive PIO program, master program. Give both of them a round of applause. And finally, I know I've probably gone longer than 5 minutes. Where's Rivers going? Get off the stage. I just want to end with something. What a career. What a career that started at Fort Ben Harrison and came here. But like Larry Eisenhower said when we came here, he said, the inmates have inherited the asylum. This place is very special. In 1982, I also went through a ceremony. That was one of the most moving ceremonies I ever went through. The Master Chiefs at DINFOS, I got to stay, Blackbird or Green Bird or whatever, between the public affairs class and the AG officer advanced class. Killer.
Thank you very much, Dr. Trahan. Congratulations again to all of our honorees. Let's have another round of applause for the Defense Information School Alumni Hall of Fame, class of 2025. I really like something you said, Mr. Hackman, so I'm going to go off script here for just a second. And I just want to thank you all of you, and to my colleagues in the room as we continue to teach the why. I love that. I will never forget that, sir. Thank you very much, because it's what separates the wheat from the chaff in what we do. And that's nothing to denigrate the people with the cell phones, because they're in important places documenting stuff too. But we teach the why. I will never forget that, sir. Thank you very much. At this time, we will ask the 2025 honorees to please come forward for a group photo. Come on up in front of the flags, folks. Mr. Gilligan will take care of you. And anybody who wants to snap a photo can please come up. Mr. Gilligan's going to get his. What's that? You can use cell phones. And if you want to explain the why in the caption, you can. Oh, yeah. You folks can get your shots now real quick.
Paparazzi.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, this officially concludes our ceremony, and we are going to invite everyone to form a line to my left with the original, behind the official party.